Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, this team never ceases to give me a heart attack. I mean, I swear to God, can we just have one game this year that doesn't have to go down to the wire? I'd really appreciate that. Oh. Let me go ahead and place this in places I need to. Oh, guys, I'm exhausted. I'm going to try and keep this short, both this and the reaction video, just for my own sake. I've had a long weekend. Nothing majorly serious. It's not like there's some groundbreaking, heartbreaking news I'm about to drop on you guys. No, my voice is just a little tired. Again, for those who don't know, I'm in the sports media business. I'm trying to be a sports broadcaster, and I was broadcasting 6 college basketball games over the last 2 days. My voice is not at its full capacity, to put it lightly. So the most they can do to try and rest it is nice. So I can talk for a while, but I'm not going to be getting as animated as I usually do. Maybe. We'll see when I actually start recording, but this game was a slog. This team survived again. 7-3. Call them frauds all you want. At the end of the day, this team continues to find a way to win football games. That's what it is. They still find ways to win football games. I don't know what to tell you. That's a good Vikings team. I said it after week 1. I'll say it again. That's a good Vikings defense. I know we were down Jonathan Gennard, and I know Isaiah Rodgers was banged up a little bit today, but those linebackers continue to put a ton of pressure on this quarterback, this team. This was not easy. And just for however, again, this is what we said at the end of the first game. It's in the fourth quarter. Santos misses that 45-yarder, and I'm sitting there just like, they're letting them hang around. They are letting them stay in this game. And this is what happened in week 1. They dominated the first 3 quarters. The Vikings defense does enough to not let the Bears go up 3-4 scores. You don't really run away with it. And the Vikings offense is finally able to do something when the fourth quarter rolls around. And what do you know? Offense can't continue to apply the pressure. They can't build a lead any further than they get. That was not a great offensive showing. It's not their worst offensive showing of the year, but not great. Again, having to settle for 4 field goals to win this game is not ideal. You want to win this game by scoring more touchdowns. That's really the bottom line. The Bears only had 2 drives that got to the red zone. It felt like they were in Vikings territory a lot in this game. They were not getting into the red zone very often. So it wasn't like they failed when they got close to the goal line. They weren't getting to the red zone. They got across midfield, and that Vikings defense was able to really stiffen up here. So this is definitely, this was for sure an NFC North football game. I'll tell you that much. Bears outgained the Vikings 320 yards to 265 yards. You're outgaining people. That's not too bad. That's definitely below what they've been doing throughout this season. But their defense played a very strong game outside of the final drive, honestly. The first touchdown they let up was in like 2 plays, and that was because they got a great return. The only bad drive I'd say the defense played was that final drive where they let J.J. McCarthy go 5 for 5 and lead the Vikings down there to take the lead. Bears dominated time of possession. They didn't go for it on 4th down in this game. I was surprised they didn't, have a 4th down conversion in this game, but they really weren't in any short yardage 4th down scenarios in plus territory. So it wasn't like there was much to do. Look, I'll tell you this right now. This offense got to be better. They're stalling in not ideal scenarios. They're stalling past the 50. Not what you want. Let's see. Yeah, they had 73 total plays. 4.4 yards per play. The Vikings didn't do much better. 4.9 yards per play. It was a tough day for offenses. Tough day for offenses. This was the best defensive game this Bears unit has played in a while, maybe all season long. And that's saying something considering they let the Vikings take the lead with under a minute to go. Quarterbacks weren't great. Hey, but you know what? It might not be the prettiest way to win games. This team's finishing late. Even when they've given up a lead. Because this is now the second time in 3 weeks where they have had a multi-score lead in the 4th quarter and blown it, but still won the game. They left Caleb Williams too much time. They had 50 seconds. And here's the big thing. When J.J. McCarthy threw that touchdown pass to Jordan Addison, I was like, great, there it is. But I was also like, they scored a little quick. They only need a field goal. Guys, we have a quarterback that when they surrender points inside a minute, but not inside 30 seconds, I'm like, hey, we only need a field goal. I think they can come down and win this. We have a quarterback that I am confident in. And that's what's really important. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, not a good game from the offense. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to find some things to talk about. Ugh. Like, here's the big thing. Once again, I am just sitting there waiting for this team to control games, all right? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to find something to talk about. This game shouldn't have been close. This is where the schedule really takes an uptick. So, with this team going to the back, what would this be? The back 7, with only one team currently under 500 left on their schedule, it's going to be a massive test for this team to see if they can hang with some of the big boys. I'm not gonna lie, there is a little bit of validity. There is a little bit of validity with the fraud allegations, but I am just of the opinion that I just really don't care right now as a fan of this team, because they have just won. I mean, they've already tied their most wins in a season in the last 5 years. Is that 5 or 4? Like, they win one more game, and it will be at least tied for their best record of the 2020s. At least most amount of wins, because that 2020 season when they went 8-8 was yeah. But yeah, this is the most they've won in the last 5 years, including this year. 6-11, 3-14, 7-10, 5-12. And all of those seasons, they finished either 3rd or 4th in the NFC North. So, forgive me to, forgive me to talking about a little bit, not necessarily being optimistic for this team being just 7-3, because at the end of the day, this team has just really frustrated so many people, just from the fact they struggle to find a way to win games. The amount of close games this team has lost in the last let's see. Let's say 4 years. Let's just keep it at that rate. Let's just keep it there. Hang on. Hold up. Give me a second here. Doing a little bit of things. Look, let's just talk about it for a second, all right? The way this team has found a way to just win, and how much nicer it is. I'm going to pull up something here. Let's see. I want to see the rate at which this is going here. All right, you know what? All right. It's not at full. I'll zoom it out a little bit here. Is that going to... No. All right, I'm going to have to extend the window. We'll just extend the window all the way out. I'm going to adjust it in a minute here. This is my spreadsheet. And this is only sprouted up in the last year as I become more interested in just the history of the Bears. Let's take a look at the last 4 years. So here's this season right here, right? Here is last year, 2023, 2022, 2021. We'll start at 2021. So considering that, we'll officially call this after the last time the Bears had just even a 500 record. We're not even talking about a winning record. 500 record. 8-8 in 2020. Since then, won a one-score game against the Bengals, which they were up 20-3, if I'm correct in that game. Let's see. Lost this game to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That one sucked. Lost to the Ravens. So lost to the Steelers after scoring the game-changing touchdown. Lost after taking the lead late again 2 weeks later. So those were the two big ones in that season. But then we get to the Matt Eberflus stuff. I initially was making a video about Matt Eberflus where I was kind of just sitting down and talking about how bad of a coach Eberflus was. I probably should still make that video. But it was basically just me kind of consulting something like this to really talk about why Matt Eberflus has been the worst coach in Bears history. Kind of going using a lot of numbers, but also feel it out as well. But let's see. I still have all these notes down here, right? This is why I'm bringing it up. Games where the Bears had a chance to tie and win, but lost with Matt Eberflus as their head coach. But lost, right? I'm going to shrink this down so this is what we're focusing on right here. This line right here. Games where the Bears had a chance to tie or win the game. So they had the ball with, let's say, under 5 minutes to go. Maybe even under 2. Most of these were with under 2 minutes. But here we go, right? Velus Jones muffs the punt. They don't even see the ball. Amir Smith-Marset has the ball knocked out of his hands when the Bears are down a touchdown. This terrible football game on Thursday night where the Bears got to 4th and goal from the 1, down 5 points and couldn't score. Justin Fields has a great day on the ground, like almost 200 rushing yards. Put up 32 points, can't win. They're up 14 points in the 4th quarter against the Detroit Lions. They lose. Because and this is like the Bears got the ball after they blow this lead and they couldn't go down and get the tying field goal. Down a field goal against the Falcons. Fields throws a pick. Down, if I'm correct, this would have been a field goal or 4 points. I don't remember. But it was like under 4 minutes to go. Fields throws a pick. Green Bay then scores a touchdown to end the game. So they end up losing the game by 2 scores. But they had a chance to go down and win it. And then here, Fields throws a pick 6 from the 5-yard line. Fields throws another pick after the Bears lead by 21 points. Bagent with a duck after coming in for an injured Fields against the Vikings. Bagent throws another interception after getting a couple chances later. And then the Bears are up 11 points with 3 minutes to go against the Lions. They lose that game. Bears are up 10 points in the 4th quarter against the Browns, pretty much with their season again on the line, and Joe Flacco comes out and beats them. They have a dropped Hail Mary by Darnell Mooney, and that pretty much ended the Justin Fields era. Bears couldn't get it done on 4th and 17. This is probably the one that hurts the least. They just failed a 4th down conversion. You know, most of these other ones, that's the funny part. They either blew a lead or turned the ball over in these scenarios. Or got very close. Like, this one really wasn't too close, but they did have the ball down to 6 points. Blocked field goal. They actually tied the game and then lost in overtime. And then whatever happened on Thanksgiving. So, what was that? Let's see. What's the count there? 17 games. 17 in 3 seasons. So 17, I don't remember exactly what Matt Eberflus's record is as a Bears head coach. Hang on. Do I have it? Did I write that down? Hang on. Hang on just a second, guys. Let's see. Yeah. 14 and 32 all-time record for Matt Eberflus. Over half of those losses for him, he had the ball with a chance to tie it. So he was always keeping it close. He could never win one-score games. And when I say never, I mean it. He won just 5 one-score games in his career. These 5 right here. What I'm highlighting right here. These are the 5 games that he won with one score. 2023 over the Texans. 16-13 against the Panthers. 12-10 over the Vikings. 24-17 over the Titans. 24-18 against the Rams. This team, when they won close, they won ugly. Also only had 2 wins ever against a team with a winning record going into that game. Against the Vikings and the Lions in 2023, back-to-back. That was it. He won just 3 road games as a head coach. Blew 5 multi-score leads in the 4th quarter. 14 in the 4th, but 21 points overall. So, yeah. No, there's a reason why I am just taking these wins. That's why I'm bringing this up. The amount of times that I saw this team over the last 3 seasons get a chance to win the game or tie it down 1 score and fail to do so is unbelievable. And they failed every single time. That's the main problem. They were missing, they were losing these games week in, week out. It wasn't even close. 1-score games, Matt Eberflus's record was 5-19. 3-19 overall on road games. He didn't win a road game on a Sunday. It was 0-18. His 3 road wins. We go back down here. His 3 road wins. These are all not on Sunday. There's a Monday night game, Thursday night game, Monday night game. Went just 2-13 against the NFC North. This Bears team has not won a lot of games within the division over the last half decade. So I will take beating a divisional opponent in any way, shape, or form. I do not care how it happens. And that's the big thing. That's why, specifically, I am just kind of... There's true, unbiased validity for problems with the way that this team's winning and how they can look and appear very fraudulent. I understand that. But we're going to take a look at the box score here. I gotta shrink this again because I had it framed for this. So I can, largen up a little bit without taking over my head. But I'm not going to apologize for winning because when we lost a full season's worth of games in 3 years by 1 score, and in all those games we had the ball with a chance to tie or win, I'm not going to apologize for 5 comeback wins in this game in the final 2, in this season. Here we go. Let me rephrase again. I'm not going to apologize for 5 wins when trailing in the final 2 minutes. I don't care if they blew a lead. I don't care what. It's a spoiled comeback, if anything. So, there's that. Hang on one second. Sorry, guys. I also, to go with my voice being a little tired after calling 6 women's basketball games, or 6 basketball games, 5 of them being women's basketball games. Calling 6 basketball games this weekend. Yeah. And I'm not feeling 100%, so there's that going for it as well. So we're going to take a quick look at the box score, talk about some significant moments, in my opinion, and then we'll get out of here so I can talk and do the video. And then, Anyways, let me check out, see what the scores are at. 6-6, Kansas City, Denver. Baltimore's losing to Cleveland. Rams on top of the Seahawks. Okay. Anyways, taking a look at the box score. Neither quarterback was good in this game. I'll be straight up. J.J. McCarthy did have that comeback drive to take the lead, but he also threw 2 picks in this game. Just 150 yards. Funnily enough, both quarterbacks went 16 of 32. Both quarterbacks were highly inefficient in this game. But J.J. McCarthy played pretty much one good drive. He played one good drive, and it was the one to take the lead. So you got to give him some credit there to find a way to get some wins, or to not to get some wins, to lead a drive when his team needed it down 1 score, needing a touchdown. I will give him credit for that after looking very bad all day long. 5 for 5 on the final drive. Still not a good day for J.J. McCarthy, though, as he did throw 2 picks in that second quarter. Kevin Byard got his 5th. He leads the league in INTs, and Deshaun Wright got his 4th. He's now tied for 2nd in the league in INTs. So, tell you what, despite Deshaun Wright having his own problems when it comes to coverage, Like, the reason why Deshaun Wright isn't starting is not because he's got a physical attribute. He's got height. He's a pretty tall guy. So that right there is what allows him to get that beautiful INT off of Jordan Addison. But at the same time, his coverage has not been at the level I would assume that this coaching staff wants. But again, takeaways are a big reason and a big highlight for defensive players. So you can only complain so much when he has 4 interceptions. Guys continue to throw to him, and he's making them pay every now and then, and I like to see that. But whenever the inevitability of Jalen Johnson coming back into the lineup, he's going to take Deshaun Wright's spot, or Tyreek Stevenson's, depends. Whatever it is, Johnson will come back in the game. Stevenson will take over as the second cornerback, and that'll be that. But I will give a lot of props for Deshaun Wright for coming through as a backup. And he's got 2 picks on J.J. McCarthy, 2 picks against the team that cut him on the practice squad last year. So I bet he feels really good. And he also got a pick for his coach that just passed away. I totally forgot what his name is off the top of my head. Hang on just a second. Oh, no. What was his name? Oh, no. That's super embarrassing. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I'm forgetting this. John Beam. That's what his name is. John Beam. John Beam passed away. And he was a coach of Deshaun Wright. Made a post about it, and he got an INT for him. And that's why he was, taking a knee. That was a very emotional moment, so very happy to do it. Double emotional moment. Like, that's a huge play against his former team that caught him on the practice squad, and for his coach, who had just passed away this week. And so, it's insane. Minnesota got in their own way. Minnesota lost this game. This game should not have been close. The Bears should have won this game by probably 2 or 3 scores. But the killer instinct for this team comes in the fourth quarter. I want to see this team put away teams in the second or the third in this type of scenario. I mean, they dominated this game. Like, from the eye test, this team should have won comfortably. But I knew from when Cairo Santos missed that field goal early in the fourth that I'm like, damn it, dude, we're letting this team hang around. We can't even get into the red zone. We got into the red zone twice in this game. Scored a touchdown on one of them, kicked a field goal on the other. So they scored points on both their red zone possessions, but they weren't getting into the red zone. So I got to give credit to Minnesota's defense. That's a good defense. Like, maybe their numbers haven't been nearly as dominant as they were last year, but that's still a good defense they're playing. Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, Ivan Pace. They're without Jonathan Gennard, which was a massive departure. Isaiah Rodgers is banged up a little bit, but this is a tough defense to beat. Both offenses did not look good. It's a little bit more damning for Minnesota, in my opinion, because I don't think Chicago's defense is nearly as good as Minnesota's defense. Considering just from the fact the amount of injuries that Chicago has. They're again without Johnson, Gordon, and Edwards, 3 of their top 5 defensive players. So, there is a lot to be said about Minnesota not taking advantage, really, for long stretches of this game. But J.J. McCarthy didn't get a ton of help. There were a handful of drops from this team. J.J. Hawkinson specifically dropped the ball quite a bit. Jordan Addison had a bad drop or 2. Justin Jefferson had one through his hands a little bit. So they got to find a way to clean it up. I'm surprised that they didn't go to Jalen Naylor as much in this game. He had a really nice performance against Baltimore last week. But what can you do? Yeah, I mean, look at it. Blake Cashman, Josh Metellus, and Van Ginkel. Just those 3 guys step up big. Dallas Turner had a nice game. This is a good defense. When one guy struggles, another guy steps up. Ivan Pace didn't have, it was a non-factor, just one tackle, but like Eric Wilson was 7, 4 solo. Tyron Ingram Dawkins, 2 solo and a TFL. Right? It's this team has a lot of players on defense that can step up, and Brian Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. I would not be surprised if he ends up getting a head coaching job again with how things ended in Miami for him. But I don't know if he really wants to take one. He could just stay in Minnesota, and if that's the case, Minnesota's going to always have a shot. So, Noah Sewell leading the team in tackles, not bad, but I love to see Tremaine Edmonds. He's played very well. He's stepped up big. I thought that TJ Edwards has been the team's best linebacker the last 2 seasons. He's been out for the majority of this season. And Tremaine Edmonds has stepped up as the top linebacker in a big way. Had a pass defense. Got a QB hit. He's making tackles when he needs to. He is definitely playing more like the type of guy we're paying. He's playing up to his contract and this season, and I'm really happy that that's the case, especially with Edwards out. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had a TFL. He nearly had a massive sack on J.J. McCarthy, but McCarthy did feel the pressure and was able to get it away. I think it was late in that game, too, in the fourth quarter. But I like to see Dennis Allen dialing up some corner blitzes for C.J. G.J. Let's see. I mean, this team survived. They got 2 takeaways. I don't know, man. It is, it's a little tough. It's a little tough sledding. There's a lot to work up. That's a very tough defense. They get another tough defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. So they've played some very tough fronts. And it's pretty clear that this team is not quite ready to take the next step to being a great team, because they're a good team right now. 7-3 is a good record. You can complain about their schedule all you want. At the end of the day, 7-3 is a good record. But I think that they need to find ways to win more comfortably, especially against these teams with losing records, because this is going to translate to losses down the line when they play stiffer competition. And they're going to have 3 tough games coming up. Pittsburgh, who has a winning record. They have Philadelphia, who's playing very well right now. They're 7-2, but they're also looking much more beatable this season than they were last year. And then they got the Packers at Lambeau. Oh, by the way, Philly, that game's in Philadelphia. So they got 2 road games, 2 tough road games against the Eagles and Packers back to back. But they got to get I want to see those offense show up against Pittsburgh. If they're able to do a good job against that Pittsburgh secondary, I'm going to be happy. But at the end of the day, this team is winning games, and to me, that's all that really matters right now. Because this is the year where this team's supposed to find their footing under Ben Johnson and the rest of this coaching staff. This is supposed to be the growth year, right? Kind of last year's a wash. Caleb Williams' rookie year, you kind of put it aside. But this is supposed to be the year. Excuse me, sorry. It's supposed to be the year that we are supposed to find out if Caleb Williams is the guy. And one thing's for certain, this guy plays well in the fourth quarter. Hang on a second, guys. Oh, yeah, I'm not feeling too amazing right now. I'm not going to go for too much longer here. It doesn't look like we're drawing a ton of people. I'm getting to this stream late. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting to this stream a little late. I watched the game a little late as well, so it's life. It's whatever. Oh my gosh. So the team's finding a ways to win. Caleb Williams leads another game-winning drive. He's got 5 on the season now. It's like, at some point, despite it being who it's against, 5 comeback drives is 5 comeback drives. Good teams lose to bad teams all the time in the NFL, and the Bears have yet to find a way to really get a terrible loss. The Minnesota loss week 1 is their worst loss, in my opinion. Because Baltimore should, rebound. They're late in the first half there. They should rebound and beat Cleveland. If they don't, that's yeah. But Baltimore, if they win that game, will be 5-5, and they just beat Minnesota, right? So their Minnesota loss week 1 is the worst one. They lost to a Detroit team that is 6-3 right now and would have the lead in the NFC North if they win tonight against Philadelphia. So I don't know. At some point, this team hasn't taken a very, very bad loss. Like, they haven't lost to a bottom feeder this season. Minnesota's their worst loss, and they're 4-6. 3 of those wins are on the road, by the way. The Vikings are now 1-4 at home. So, if the Vikings are winning, they're winning on the road, which is the weird part. But this is a huge win for Chicago, specifically for the division race. Because the Bears now get to 1-2 in division play. They're 7-3. But it's more important for the division race in the sense that it prevents Minnesota from getting to a 500 record, but they'd be 5-5 with a 3-0 record in the NFC North. So they're winning these division games when it matters, and the division race becomes massive here if Minnesota is able to come out with that win. So, it's a huge win for Chicago to really kind of put a nail in the coffin. This was pretty much Minnesota's season. They had to have this one to not only get back to 500, but they would have had the ultimate leverage. 3-0 in division play. They would have had a season sweep on the Bears. They play the Packers next week, which will be another big one. That'll pretty much continue to be their season. If they want to hold on to any sort of hope, they'll beat the Green Bay Packers, get to 3-1 in division play, and get to 5-6. And, the season isn't done quite yet, but the playoff chances for Minnesota drop significantly with a loss here today. Anyways, Cole Kmet. How about this? Cole Kmet leading the team in receptions. 5 catches, 45 yards. He was a nice safety blanket today for Caleb Williams. Was liking to see that. Odunze just 2 catches for 41. Colston Loveland, 3 catches, 40 yards. He had that big third down catch on 3rd and long. Luther Burden had a drop. That sucks. He had 2 drops, actually. 3 catches, 27 yards. DJ had a bad drop, which immediately was made up for by Colston's 3rd and long catch and run. He had just a 1 catch for 18 yards. And finally, Durham Smythe finally gets a catch offensively. He's been out there quite a bit, being a blocking tight end more than anything. He got 3 targets today, but I'm just happy to see he got a catch. Sorry. This team nearly turned it over early, too. They had a fumble on the exchange between Williams and Swift. Odunze is able to get back on it. This team set themselves back in 2nd and 3rd and long scenarios. I'd like to see them stay ahead of the sticks more often than not. Because there were penalties that were taken on 1st down that really hurt this team. More so, like, penalties are bad anyways, right? But I would like to see them take less penalties on 1st down because it was clear that Minnesota's defense played much better when they had that cushion, right? It felt like every time they ran it on 1st and 15, it was swallowed up for like a 2 or 3 yard loss. So now they're setting themselves back for 2nd and 19, 18, 19. So I like to see that improve. Again, lots of things to improve as this season progresses. This team is not perfect by any stretch of the word, but they're 7-3. And that, to me, is what makes this season so rewarding right now is with how many losses this team has taken in one-score games and just the consistent underperforming in one-score games, it feels a little bit vindicated knowing that this team, despite not playing their best football that I've ever seen, they're still finding a way to win games. They're 7-3 for the first time since 2018. This has been a very fun team to watch. They're giving you a heart attack every week, but man, they are coming out with wins regardless. I think that says more about the culture than anything. I saw one or two tweets in the short time that I've had to look at it before starting the stream here. I've seen one or two tweets saying if this team was led by Matt Eberflus, they would be probably 2-6 right now, 2-8, whatever, right? Probably be 2-8, and they're absolutely right, because how many of these games that this team has blown would they have won? Would they have won that game against Las Vegas? With how their offense started out? Probably not. Would they have won that game against Washington? Probably not. They wouldn't have been able to come back and even tie that game. I think that probably would have gotten away from them in the fourth quarter. Would they have beaten Cincinnati after giving up 2 touchdowns? Probably not. Would they have ended up winning this game? Probably not. So, I mean, I don't think that this team really wins any of these one-score games with Matt Eberflus at the helm. And, there's no reason with his tenure in Chicago for me to believe that would have been the case. So Ben Johnson is the culture. He is the culture shift. And I love seeing that these players are getting behind it, because I said it so many times last year, this team was way too talented to go 5-12. There was too much talent on that team for them to stink. But they were not wanting to play for that coaching staff. The season got away from them real quick. That team was way too talented to be 5-12 and having a 10-game losing streak within the season. But they're winning, and that's all that should matter right now. We can complain all we want about I don't like the way that they're winning, but at the end of the day, with how poorly that this team has played in one-score games, it's nice to see a change of pace and that they're winning these close games. And you hope that when this thing gets cleaned up, whether that's next year or at the end of this year, and they start playing their best football, that it leads now to them being able to beat better teams. That's kind of the way I look at it. And that's a positive mindset to have, right? Before you beat the really good teams, you got to beat the bad teams. And before you come back and lead big comeback drives against good teams, you have to go out there and lead comeback drives against the bad teams. So, that's the important part for me. Anyways, it doesn't look like we really have had too many participants, too many viewers in here today. And I think that's a byproduct of me getting to this late. So that's my apologies. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to try and give my voice a little bit of a rest. I'm going to try and get to this through this reaction video pretty quickly. Enjoy the rest of my football Saturday. And I also kind of want to finish this up as quick as I can so I can enjoy the rest of these afternoon games. Good thing is that they're still kind of early. At least I think so. Let me double check. Has this been updating? All right, they're late stages third. A couple in the four at halftime. So, I want to be able to enjoy some of those late games. Anyways, so thanks for watching if you were here. If anyone is watching and wants to ask me a question about the game, feel free to drop that here as I wrap up. Bears get the Steelers next weekend. They get their Achilles heel as a franchise, nicknamed Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check coming into Soldier Field. With the Steelers at 6-4, they've kind of been in a similar position as the Bears this season. They're finding ways to win despite it not being the prettiest football that they've played. But Mike Tomlin, he's on the hot seat despite this team being 6-4. I know fans of teams like the Bears and the Browns can't fathom the fact that Mike Tomlin would be on the hot seat with how they've just continued to find a way to have winning seasons. But when they haven't won a playoff game in 10 years, and they're still pulling off winning seasons, that continues to be a problem. Anyways, they got Pittsburgh next week. The schedule's going to stiffen up after Pittsburgh. It's thankfully a steady increase. It's not like they're going to be thrown to the fire against Philly next week. They got through a tough Vikings defense who was 4-5, playing desperate for their season. They get a Pittsburgh team who's 6-4, a little bit better, still a good defense, and now they got a better quarterback who's more experienced and is way more experienced in that building against your team. Then you get the real test, Philly, Green Bay, on the road back-to-back weeks. So we'll see how it shakes up, but it's another win, man. They should have put that game away earlier. Try to get that sentence out before the sneeze came, but yeah. Anyways, I am feeling a little out of it. Trying to get through this as I'm not feeling great, so I'm gonna log off here. Take a second, get the video recorded, get it out, edited out, and everything before at a reasonable hour this time. And yeah, Bears win again. They're 7-3, man. I ain't gonna apologize for a win. Would I love to see them put a team away earlier, especially in a game like this? Absolutely, but I think that comes down the line as this team gets more, as this team and this coaching staff become more unified and spend some more time together. Those dominating wins will come. So another win in the books. It's a big divisional win. Sends the Vikings down to 4-6. This team now, for the time being, for the next couple of hours, is guaranteed to lead the NFC North. And that is really cool. The latest they've had the lead in this division since 2018. So, yeah, sounds great. Anyway, I don't know how to wrap this up. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more from me. You want to stay updated and get notified when I go live after Bears games. Great. Anyways, I'll see you later. Have a good one.